On the streets of Gaza, scenes of desperation and despair. Despite claims from the Israelis that there is no humanitarian crisis here, President Barack Obama is now saying something needs to change.
It seems to us that there should be ways of focusing narrowly on arms shipments rather than focusing in a blanket way on stopping everything and then in a piecemeal way allowing things into Gaza.
The 3-year blockade was meant not just to prevent weapons from getting in, but basic goods as well. There's also been a restriction on exports. The hope was to push the 1.5 million people trapped in the Gaza Strip to reject the government of Hamas. Mr. Obama seemed to hint it hasn't worked.
The status quo that we have is one that is inherently unstable. And I think the Israelis have come to recognize that. The question now is, how do we create a different framework so that people in Gaza can thrive and succeed, so that extremists are isolated as opposed to having an excuse for engaging in violent activities.
This is a positive signal of the United States, that the United States cares about the suffering of the people in Gaza and about the suffering of the Palestinian people.
An advisor to the Hamas government called it a positive step.
This is a good step in the right direction. If Mr. Obama believes the situation here is unacceptable, it's up to him to change things by asking the Israelis to lift the siege.
While President Obama promised to talk to Israel and other allies about the changes to the blockade, the administration's policy of not dealing with Hamas, well, that's not going to change.
We have offered Hamas a spot at the table many times if Hamas will agree to very straightforward conditions. Recognize Israel, recognize existing agreements, and give up violence against Israel.
The Obama administration pledged $400 million to the Palestinian people, but the majority of it will be spent in the West Bank and not in Gaza. U.S. money that goes into Gaza is given to private charities, the United Nations, and to the Palestinian Authority to spend in an attempt to prop up the Abbas government. This latest pledge, in part, money that was already promised by the Obama administration. Less than a quarter of it goes to humanitarian relief. Culhane, Al Jazeera, Washington.